You were saying something in here. Okay, welcome to everyone once more. Welcome to our sixth after work event of the year with the theme of BA skills and AI. I am your host this evening, or hostess, and I think I should start by presenting myself. So my name is Florence Ndum. I'm an IT business analyst, project manager, agile leader, and also a consultant. I have the CBAP and AAC BA certifications, among others, and I have 8 years of experience in total, being in the IT space, but covering different industries like telecom, pharma, and most recently in professional development. And with IIBA Cameroon, I am the Vice President for Professional Development in English. And I'm very excited to be here with all of you this evening to have an exchange, an interesting exchange about a hot topic for all of us here. So let me talk you through our agenda for this evening. We'll start with the welcome, which is what I'm doing. I'll share with you the ground rules shortly. But we will have a brief introduction to IIBA Cameroon that organized this event. And we will have our conversation with our speaker, Helene, for about half an hour. And then you'll have enough time to ask questions about what has been shared and even share your own perspective or comments, because we know that we are all professionals here with different perspectives and we want to learn from each other. And then if we have enough time, we will have our breakout rooms for networking. So if this was a physical event, it will mean that you can break into little groups, get together and talk to each other. Now that it's a virtual event, we'll do that virtually. So we'll split into different groups and get a chance to get to know each other. Then finally, we will have a quiz. We always have a very fun quiz at the end to check if you are listening to what we are actually talking about. And if you are listening, and you are fast, you can get a reward. And then we'll close. So that's what we will be doing this evening for the next 2 hours. So let's start with the ground rules. First, we would like you to mute your mic if you are not speaking. When you want to intervene, you can raise your hand and we will call you up to speak, or you can use the chat to post your question or comment. And whenever you want to express yourself, we strongly encourage you to introduce yourself, because this is a networking event actually, and we really want to know who you are. And that's what we are here for too. Also, please note that the session is being recorded. If you are not comfortable being part of this recording, please drop out of the call. That's the only option. But we record the session so that those who registered and were not able to attend can catch up on what happened. Another thing to note is that we will be taking screenshots of the participants in here, so that we can communicate on the event afterwards on our different channels. But if you are uncomfortable with being part of these images, these screenshots, you can just drop us a message. You can write to me directly, and we will make sure that in whatever we post afterwards, we will blur you out. So completely respect your choice here. And finally, and most importantly, we want you to participate and enjoy. Please don't see this as a movie that you are watching. This is an exchange, a professional exchange. So please participate, relax, enjoy, show what you know, ask questions. This is really our nice Friday evening event as professionals. So don't take it too seriously. All right, next, let me introduce you to the IIBA. So the IIBA is the International Institute of Business Analysis, with a vision to shape the practice of business analysis to achieve better enterprise outcomes, and a mission to lead the global business analysis community and professional standards so that every person can achieve more. Essentially, in a nutshell, the IIBA exists to help organizations do their work better. And the IIBA is a global organization with over 30,000 members across the world in 120 chapters. And the IIBA prides itself in two main things. The first one is having a body of knowledge called the BABOK, which is supposed to be the guide, best practice guide for business analysts. And it also provides very well-recognized certifications for business analysts. Most people know about the CBAP, which is Certified Business Analysis Professional. And there are other certifications as well. It can be for agile analysis, for data analytics, for cybersecurity. They have all these 7 certifications, which are a very good way of showing the world that you are a professional. Now, we're talking about an Institute for Business Analysis, but I think we should clarify what we mean by business analysis. So business analysis is the approach that enables change in a company by defining the needs and recommending solutions that bring value to stakeholders, taking into account their context. We know that in this audience, there are business analysts, there are people who are maybe interested in business analysis, and people who may not know what it is. Usually we found that people practice business analysis without even knowing that they practice business analysis. That according to the IIB, a business analyst is anyone who performs business analysis tasks as described in the BABOK guide. And you may not have the title business analyst. Actually, many people who practice business analysis don't have the title. In this graphic here, you can see the different areas where business analysts operate and the different job titles that they tend to have. So it's quite broad. You have, for example, a governance and risk manager can be doing business analysis. You have product managers doing business analysis. You have data architects. You have business process analysts or systems analysts. There are so many roles out there performing business analysis. So we hope that through the IIBA, you can get to understand this profession better. And if you are interested in the profession, you can develop your skills and improve them. So coming back to the IIBA, in Africa, there are 7 confirmed and established chapters. Cameroon is just one of them. And there are 4 of them which are currently in the process of becoming chapters. So the community is definitely growing. And if on LinkedIn, sometimes you would see different IIBA chapters promoting their events. Like, for example, I plan to attend an event from IIBA Côte d'Ivoire next week. So it's also a very good way to cross the boundaries of your country and get to know what other professionals in different countries are doing. But now let's look at IIBA Cameroon. IIBA Cameroon is quite a young chapter. We only started in 2021. And we pride ourselves in being the defender of business analysts in Cameroon. As mission and goals, we represent IBA in Cameroon, of course, and we provide a framework for exchanges and information for our Cameroon members. We also promote business analysis practices, and we want to professionalize business analysis activities. We have an office in Douala, near Sikakao in Douala. And then we are accessible through our email address and our website, our LinkedIn page, our Facebook page. I'm going to ask my dear assistant Derek to please post the information on the chat on how you can reach the IBA Cameroon. And now about the IBA Cameroon members, currently we are 54. And membership costs 40,000 francs a year. Among our members, we have certification holders. So we have 7 who are CBAP certified, 1 CCBA, 2 ECBA, 1 AAC. And we also have 7 in the pipeline who have decided to write the CBAP exams. So we expect these numbers to grow. And this is one of the objectives also, is to increase the membership of business analysts to this community called the IBA. Right. Speaking of that, we're very happy to let you know that there is a discount for membership. If you decide to join the IBA this month, you'll have next month, August, you'll have a 15% discount. So do take advantage of it. If you're interested, reach out to us here on the chat or afterwards through our contacts. Now, going back to what IIBA actually does, we group our activities in these big topics. So we do trainings on different topics relevant to business analysts. We also do study groups to prepare people for certifications. We do professional exchanges like this one that we're having right now. It's an after work. It's one of the things we do. And we also do promotion activities to let people know what IIBA is about, what business analysis is about. And we do some interesting strategic partnerships as well. In this year of 2024, so far we've already done 5 trainings concerning process modeling or process engineering, as well as business analysis basics, or using business analysis tools and techniques in industry or in a company to help people do their jobs better. We also had 4 certification study groups. One of them is done, 3 of them are ongoing, and we have our study groups in English and French, on-site and online. So these are for people who want to get one of the IIBA certifications. We've had 6 events such as this one, in person and online. So we've been having them in Douala in person and online like this. Every month we have one. So this is our 6th one this year. Promotional activities, we've been present in forums where different career types are being promoted, like Salon de Métier, and also in universities like UCAC, and also in companies to tell them about what business analysis is about and to offer them training possibilities. And we've secured 2 very strategic partnerships in this year of 2024, which I'm very excited to tell you about. But I want to call upon William Chobney, who is the president of IBA Cameroon, to tell us more about what these partnerships represent. So one of them is the PECB, and we'll see the next one later. So William, can you tell us what this partnership with PECB means?
Thank you, Florence. So PCB is they are based in Canada again, and through this partnership, um, the idea was to offer e-learnings, self-studying, and on-site training and certifications. Because so far we don't have e-learnings, we don't provide offer e-learnings training. So the idea was with them to provide e-learnings and self-learning certifications. They also um, provide globally recognized certifications in fields such as quality management, information security, AI, and so on. And any IBA members willing to become can become um, uh, um, a PCB trainer. That is also something we wanted to offer to our member to if they want to become trainers, they can be that and help train other professionals. So we will discuss more about that in the next weeks. We'll have specific sessions around this what this partnership offers.
Awesome. And what about this one?
I'm so proud of this one, really. And this is so amazing because now, as a member of the JCAM, we now have access to a broader network of professionals, leaders, and the government. And this opens up numerous opportunities for all of us, members of IB Cameroons, to collaborate, share our knowledge, and discuss with the government and other professionals from other industries. And so it will allow us to have a stronger voice in advocating for the interest of our profession uh, of business analysts and also promote the importance of business analysis and the best the business analysis in Cameroon's economic development. So again, we'll also discuss more about that in the next week.
Great. Quite
Thank you.
exciting things to come. Thank you, William. Now, the other things that I want to highlight are a few of the events that we have coming up. In IBA Cameroon, we always organize so many interesting events. Take note that we have something called the BA of the Month Awards. Every month, we started a couple of months back, and for this month, you have until the 31st of July to nominate a colleague or collaborator of yours that you think has done an excellent job as a business analyst or using business analysis skills or tools or techniques. So Derek, please help me post the link in the chat on how you can nominate someone, but do not hesitate to do that. Giving people that recognition is so encouraging. And who knows, maybe you will be the one nominated next time. So yeah, please use the link that will be posted in the chat and nominate someone. Next up, we have the next after work event, which we call our BA meetups. But this one will be on site on the 1st of August in Douala at Hotel Platinum Cocotier. And it will be about digital transformation in the space of financial services and the role of a business analyst in that. Our after-work events in person are always very interesting, so I strongly recommend that you attend one. We also have a training coming up on the tool called Jira, a very, very fantastic tool for those who work in agile environments or who are planning to. And this is a free training, so take advantage of it and get to know how to use Jira, at least have an introduction to Jira. Also coming up is a study group on site in French to prepare people for certifications. I mentioned earlier that we have some of them running at the moment, but this is a new cohort that will start in September. But don't worry if I've gone through this pretty fast, but our LinkedIn page contains all the information about our events, and you can go there and read through them and see also how to register. So please visit our LinkedIn page. Now let's get to the main course of the day, the reason why we came together. What we're really excited about is this conversation around BA skills and AI with Helene, who has joined us. Welcome, Helene. Can you confirm you can hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you now.
Okay.
Can we also see you?
Hi, guys.
Hi, Helene. Okay, we're so glad to have you here. I mean, this topic of AI has become so hot and popular in the past 2 years. We do know that AI has been in development for over a decade, but something happened recently and now it is like the hottest topic in the technology space and beyond technology even. So we thought, no, we need to talk about this. Our last after work was also on AI, that was in person in Douala. So we thought we would continue this topic because it's so relevant for us. So thank you so much for making time to talk to us about this topic and how we can reconcile our BA world and AI. I'm going to stop my screen share right now and so that we can really see you and focus on you. I don't want to steal your thunder and talk about you. I really want you to tell us who you are. So who are you, Helene?
So my name is Helen Manyari, and I am the founder of an organization called the Change Engine. And the work that we do primarily involves building partnerships, strategic partnerships with stakeholders within the ecosystem. And our objective is promoting the use of modern technologies on the continent. Our objective is really getting individuals, organizations, different bodies to see the different ways in which they can leverage technology to accelerate their ambition, to empower them to be able to do more with less. The world is changing really quickly, and Africa has the demographic, the perfect demographic to be able to make the best of it. We have people, we have young, very intelligent people. But the objective is really coming to a place where we understand how we can leverage technology. And we cannot do that individually. We have to do that together. So we have to make sure that we are working together. Just 1 second, just 1 minute, please. Please excuse me, just 1 minute. I apologize. I'm actually in the middle of an event that I'm organizing. It's a digital skills program for kids. So I was just saying that is primarily the work that we do. We promote the use of modern technologies. We provide trainings, we provide sensitization. We have sensitization campaigns where we work with different stakeholders to be able to empower their targets, and ensure that whether we're talking about young people, we're talking about women, we're talking about young adults, we make sure that we can enable their leaders see the advantage in providing the skills for them. And we also try to facilitate, because we have partnerships with international organizations like Microsoft and AWS and Facebook. And what we do in that situation is try to make those trainings more affordable, try to make the trainings cheaper. In partnership with the government, we have trained over 3,000 people in Cameroon right now. And in partnership with Orange, the Orange Data Center, and with Microsoft, we have trained almost over 800 people. And these partnerships are really based on the fact that we believe that to go fast, one can go alone, but to go far, we must go together. And that is the foundation of the work that we do. We try to build the partnerships that will ensure that people in different demographics have access to the training that they need, they have access to the support that they need, they have access to the network that they need to be able to accelerate their access to their ambitions. So that is really, that's what we do. We have a program for women called Accelerate Her. The same idea. I'm currently at an event the closing ceremony for our 1 month training with kids aged 4 to 18. It's called the Tech Summer Camp. And we just ended the Cameroon Digital Skills Campaign that we organized in partnership with the Cameroon government and with Microsoft. And later on this year, we have another training where we're training about 150 young people. So basically what we do is train. I could really go on and on. My background is petroleum engineering, and I left oil and gas to get into technology. So I know a little bit about shifting. I know a little bit about changing as an adult. I know a little bit about putting yourself in the position of a learner. And I feel like that is probably the most empowering thing that anybody can do today, particularly given the rapid rate at which technology is changing.
Okay, thank you so much for that introduction. Quite interesting. We know that you are an educator and you love to teach people about technology and empower them with using technology. And that's why we were so happy to have you on board to tell us about this specific type of technology, which is AI. Not all of us here would understand what AI is, would be experts at AI, but I guess that's fine. A lot of the world is currently being exposed to AI for the first time. But can you, as an educator, help us understand what AI is in simple terms? What are the key things we should know about it?
So basically, I feel I'll just try to explain it like I was talking to a 5-year-old. And what artificial intelligence really involves is making a computer intelligent, is educating the computer. At that point, we're talking about machine learning. And there's different levels actually. We're talking machine learning, we're talking deep learning, we're talking natural language processing. The objective really, which is quite simple, of artificial intelligence is feeding the machine enough data to make it intelligent. We go to school for 14 years, for 20 years, to be able to get information to build mastery in our specific skills. So what happens with the computer is the computer doesn't need 14 years. If you give it the information you got in 14 years in one day, you will learn it in one day and it will become an expert at it in one day. So that's really where the key is. The advantage of artificial intelligence is that it gives machines the opportunity to help us and to assist us like humans will. We empower them to think like we would think. But the disadvantage, if you permit me jump into that, is the fact that with artificial intelligence, once you are fed it with data, it gets the spirit of the data that you are fed it with. So that's why we have issues of bias. So when we talk about people who, let's say, are less likely to hire African Americans, when data from that kind of organization gets into the AI will think exactly like that. So if they say, okay, African Americans don't speak right, I'm talking about Africans, let's just say Africans, because we're not African Americans now. So when Africans do not maybe speak right, or they don't have good schools. So if their data shows that they're less likely to hire an African, that's exactly what's going to happen. What's going to happen is that data has been fed the bias of the person that provided that AI has been fed the bias of the person that provided the data. So the objective, really, even as we use artificial intelligence, is to make sure that we do not forget the human aspect of it. And I feel like I'm going to get to that point later on. But then the objective really of artificial intelligence is to empower and not to replace human beings. So once you give a machine the information, it can provide it to you when you need it. That's why we say doctors are more valuable when they have 30 years experience, but then the AI has 150 years experience. But that's the difference, you know. So when a doctor who has 10, 20 years experience is holding an AI that has 100 years experience, is empowered to be able to do a lot more than he would. And one of the big things that you do as business analysts is analyzing information to be able to make inferences, right? But then it takes some time to do that. But with the AI, it takes 2 minutes and 3 minutes. And you can have access to data and it takes lots of time for you to process it. But when we're getting to the level of deep learning, we're getting to the level of machine learning, we know that the machine is empowered to be able to not only harbor data, but to analyze data and to provide inferences, recommendations that you can use. So I see room for partnership as opposed to being replaced by the AI, as many people think. So for me, it's beautiful to think that you can feed a computer information, and then it will provide it to you when and how you need it, and so very quickly. So to me, that's really what AI is. As we say, artificial intelligence is just intelligence that is artificial. That's what it is. I hope I'm answering the question there.
I hope so too. And if you've not, I'm sure people are going to ask you afterwards during the Q&A. And just a reminder to the audience, if you have any questions, you can post them in the chat while we're having this conversation with Helen. Afterwards, you have time for Q&A where you can ask her the questions directly. Okay, so thanks for that introduction, Helen. Artificial intelligence is educating a computer, essentially. Now, when we look at your profile, your experience, you said you were or you are a petroleum engineer who shifted into technology. You're now a founder of organizations and great initiatives. In all of these things that you've done, how have you used business analysis or interacted with business analysis?
I'm going to admit that before we had the conversation that we had, I did not know I was such a big business analyst. Because as a small business owner, I permit myself to call myself that. It's that game that we play every day. It's trying to assess the decisions that we're making. It's trying to assess the information that we have and make sure that it's enough to be able to do what it is that we're looking to do, and also trying to make sure that, okay, once maybe for instance at the end of a sensitization campaign, we have to go back to the information that we garnered and ensure and find out who we're able to reach. So we are trying to assess how successful that campaign was. Who did we reach? Were we reaching just people that already know about technology, or did we have a chance to actually reach people that need the help that we're providing? Who are those who need the help more urgently? And that also informs the kind of partnerships that we build, right? Because, for instance, the program that we're running now, when we did the first one, we realized that a lot of parents could not necessarily afford the training. So what we did was we partnered with Shanaz, we partnered with Brasserie, we partnered with Parenco, and what these companies are doing is that they're making the training affordable, available for kids who cannot necessarily afford it. So what the work that I do in this sector is really you having to think on your feet a lot of the time. You having to think on your feet a lot of the time, and you just putting yourself in the place where you are letting the happenings around you inform the decisions. Even when we talk about the business in itself, when we say we have a budget and we're supposed to train 500 people in a year, we have to find the most strategic ways to do it. And this also involves where we know how much we're able to spend in a specific region, we know the kind of partnerships that we can strike that will work in that region. So for me, the biggest thing that I do is really analyzing the data that I'm fed, is really analyzing to see how I will let the data inform the decisions that we're going to make. So that's really what that is. When I was in oil and gas, I worked as a procurement engineer. And what that meant is really we had to guide the engineers on the purchases that they made. And guiding them and ensuring that the purchases that they made were as cost effective as possible. So we had the oversight on what the company could and could not afford. But what they wanted was the best product, the best equipment, the best services for their objectives, right? So we had to be in the middle and say, okay, because I'm an engineer and you're an engineer, when you tell me that you want to use this specific drill bit, I know the reason why you want to do it. And I'm positioned to say, okay, instead of using this drill bit, There's this other drill bit that you can use. It's a little less expensive, but it's also a little less efficient, but it's efficient enough to be able to meet the goals that you have. And that's basically still analyzing data. It's saying that, okay, when I get into the market and I'm looking at a set of maybe 5 or 6 different drill bits used in different regions, I need to assess the efficiency. I need to check out the reviews. I need to see the specific descriptions of all this equipment. And I need to be able to calculate and say, okay, this is going to be able, maybe it will not be as perfect as the one they're asking for, but it is 50% cheaper. So it's a compromise that we're willing to make. So it's really thinking on your feet and just ensuring that what you're doing is not only cost effective, but you keep the bigger picture in mind. So that has been my experience really with business analysis. And I do not really know that that's what I was doing, because I'm one of the people who was confused about business analytics and business analysis. So it's been a very interesting journey for me. And yeah, so that I feel like that is my own standpoint so far. That's really where we're trying to be brave. That's really where I can say I've had the chance to use business analysis skills.
That's quite interesting, because you're not the only one who gets business analysis and business analytics confused. Yeah, there's something about that term. But indeed, what you said is what many people encounter. They use business analysis without knowing they're using business analysis. And essentially, what we do with business analysis is we get a very good understanding of what the current context or current situation or state is. We help to determine where we want to go as individuals, as teams, as organizations, and what is the vision. And then we help to bridge the gap between where we are and where we want to go. And clearly you've done that in your role as a procurement engineer, in your role as an organizational business owner. And I think it's quite interesting for us to know and see the different ways where business analysis can be applied. So thanks for that. Now, when we come to bringing together AI and business analysis, you've touched on it a little bit. You gave us an example of analyzing information. As a human, maybe you can spend an hour analyzing information and getting insights from it. But when you use a machine, when you use AI specifically, it can be done in seconds. So this is one example, but can you tell us about other areas where you see AI enhancing our skills as business analysts? You promised us that replacing is not really in the picture, but maybe there's also a risk, because recently people are losing jobs with the rise of AI. So do you also see areas where AI can replace what we do as business analysts? Tell us what you think.
For replacement, there is a possibility of replacement, of course, especially when we look at natural language processing. What is happening now with many companies, like when you go online and you're talking to a chatbot, the chatbot doesn't just talk to you. There's inferences that the chatbot is able to make that would normally have been the business analyst job. And it can analyze text. It can analyze text even from images, which is a really cool thing, because once you have an image, the impression is you can't do anything with it. But the AI is able to analyze text right from the images, analyze customers' comments, and make inferences and be able to say, okay, provide insights onto the customer's sentiment and emerging issues. So you can have a web page where you post a lot of information about your company or your business and things like that, and customers can come and post their reviews. But then if we had to harvest this data, we'll have to go one after another, like copying and saying, okay, this person said this person said that. But using the AI just runs through the web, harvests the data. And what happens at that point is that it's able to say, okay, there's 10% of the people that have given review that have said this, 50% of them have said this, 20% of them have recommended this. So I feel like that's one of the quickest ways in which you see that in that case, we don't necessarily need a a person. You can the AI can actually do it without the help of a person. But one of the interesting things about technology is that it requires you to go higher, because technology, in this case, once the recommendations are made, once the report is given, the AI is capable of making the recommendations. But then the AI is not a person in the sense that the AI doesn't have empathy. And one big issue, and I like us to look at it as an advantage for those of us who are living on the continent, is that we don't necessarily have all the data that we need. So we have more time. The more data, the less time, because all that AI is relying on is data, and we don't yet have enough data on the continent. So we should be trying to build as much data as we can. But then that process gives us time to be able to build our skill set to the point where once we come to a point where there's data, we are up and we are ready to move. So there's equally automated data processes, whether that's first the harvesting of the data or providing the data, analyzing large sets of data, and AI algorithms help us to be able to do that. And when we come to the level of data harvesting, there's the data cleaning that is needed, there's the integration and there's transformation of data as well that is required. But then if we need human beings to do that, the human beings will be very expensive human beings. Not always, but some of the time, especially for us, once again, on the continent. And I really like us to take into consideration our context, because in Africa, let me not say Africa, because Africa is so different. When we're talking Francophone Africa, it's a very different subset from Anglophone, or should I say the English-speaking sub-Saharan Africa. And when people say, oh, French Africa is backward, I say that's the advantage that we have, actually, for those of us who think as problem solvers, because there's problems for us to solve. And if there's problems to solve, there's money to be made. And I feel like anybody in any sector, when you see people innovating in health, they're innovating in health in partnership with technology. When you see people, we have fintechs now, we have edtechs, we have medtech, we have agritech. Those are people in specific sectors that have learned technological skills, have found the intersection between that sector and technology, and are creating solutions specific for their sector. So once you find a doctor who has realized that there's need for telemedicine and has created an app or website where doctors from around the country can sign up and patients from around the country can have consultations online. It's not just the point of the doctor, there's collecting the information, knowing which doctor to refer the person to, or which doctor to, as you say in French, interpeller, to come to that assist. All that is technology, but then that doctor has knowledge. If you don't understand how technology works, you don't understand how it can be a solution. And I feel like for those of us who are in this sector, there's so many solutions being built around the world, different CRM solutions, but then I feel that our context is different. We need to take that into consideration. And that's why when solutions created by the people abroad, we try to helicopter them, like come from the top, believing that we have all and they believing that they have all the answers. But the truth is, if those of us who are reading the field, the business analysis is what you do, if you're able to understand how technology works, take a few trainings, understand what technology can do for your sector, you're the better person to be able to build solutions and innovate in that sector. It's not a technology software developer, doesn't know shit, excuse my French, about BA. So the person that can innovate is the business analyst who has been able to harness technology, understand it, harness it, and apply it to create innovative solutions. I really feel like that is the intersection that we're looking for when we're talking about evolving in the things that technology can do, and evolving the things that we can do as people with technology. So yeah.
Okay, so what I'm getting from that is that with technology, with AI, we can do our jobs as business analysts much better and much faster. There are certain aspects, especially with data gathering, getting insights from data and recommendations, that can be automated using AI, but we cannot really take out the human factor, and especially putting things into context wherever we are applying business analysis. So we are very strong at identifying needs, the real needs behind the situations that we face, behind what people say they want, and behind what is not even expressed. There's something that business analysts do so well. And it requires gathering a lot of information, but it also requires a lot of human interaction, understanding all the complexity around.
An
the-
interesting thing that can actually happen there with AI. Sorry, I'm not interrupting you.
No, go ahead.
An interesting thing is that AI can actually help in scenario analysis. It can help you because that's one thing I know that BAs do. They have to, when you're making a recommendation, you have to be able to visualize it and take the context into consideration. And that's another thing that I feel that AI can actually help a business analyst do. And the issue in that situation, the good thing is you will be able to think about maybe 2, 3, 4, but if you prompt the AI enough, it can give you even 100 and paint a clear picture and provide you all the information. So you can go out and do the research that you had to do to be able to create the best possible scenarios and give you the pros and cons of the scenarios that you're considering. So that's another thing, even recommending solutions, in as much as the onus lies on the individual, on the expert to be able to make the final decision, the AI is able to make recommendations with regards to that. So I think that's one of the use cases really are many. We don't have enough time to explore all of them, but there's exciting things that artificial intelligence can really help business analysis analysts with the right skills do. So yeah.
True, definitely. And I remember something you once told me. For those of us who are scared of AI replacing us and taking our jobs, we should note that it's not the AI that will steal our jobs. It's
Exactly.
business analysts or the people using AI who
That
will
will
replace
replace those
us.
who are not using AI. That's true.
So we should definitely take advantage of this time where we can still learn to use AI.
Sure.
So we don't become obsolete. Okay, thank you so much for that. Now, speaking of learning to use AI, what would you recommend to business analysts who want to develop AI skills? Some of us are scared because we're not really technologists, we are not developers, machine learning engineers, all those very specialized roles. But what would you say to a normal business analyst who wants to learn to use AI to do their job better?
I feel like the first thing is first, I feel like the understanding of AI sounds really basic, but it's very essential, especially for the person that has to apply. And I always say that the people who are learning to know are very different from the people who are learning to pass an exam. So it's such a different, the objectives are so different. And the experiences are so different as well, because the person who's learning with a fixed objective to do something has a much more enriching experience. So, and I also say this, people are very interested in certificates. I really don't care about certificates, and they don't mean anything. Especially when you talk about online learning. If you tell me that you passed an online exam, there's the exams that are supervised, and then there's those that you just take, especially the ones that come from the Coursera's and the EDX and LinkedIn. They're very good and important trainings, but I don't think our focus should be on getting a certificate out of them. It's really just ensuring that I'm learning as much as I can learn, which is supposed to be the objective of the program. So there's, as I already mentioned, there's Coursera, there's EDX, there's Udacity, there's Khan Academy. There's also YouTube, which is very interesting as well, to be able to get to a place where you understand the different ways in which AI exists, and then see how it can be applied to your specific sector. Even when we're looking for competencies for that sector, still in those, and I like to use those because they're usually free. So once they're free, it gives you the opportunity to dip your feet a little into the water, to test the waters and say, okay, what works, what doesn't work, and see how you can get yourself to a place where you're applying it to your own competencies. And another thing is trying to learn programming. It sounds very daunting. I learned how to code when I was 27. So I learned how to code when I was 27.
Oh, okay.
sorry.
We stopped hearing you, but okay. Please
Yeah,
go ahead.
sorry. So as I was saying, the big thing about it is, as you say in French, faut le vouloir. You just have to want it bad enough, right? And that's really where it is. I learned how to code when I was 27, and it's because I attended a conference called Intelligent Energy. At the time, the oil price was really dipping, and the oil industry was trying to figure out how they can use technology to make their operations more cost effective. Because once the cost of oil is very high, it doesn't matter how much operations cost, they make their money back times 10. But once the cost of oil is very low, the only way we stay profitable is if we're able to streamline operations and make them as cost effective as possible. That is when the oil industry really started looking into technology. I think the oil industry was the last to really get, because finance were ahead, banking, finance and banking, same people, marketing were ahead as well, medicine was ahead. So the oil industry, because it's probably one of the richest industries, they really did not care for efficiency. It was not a priority. So when the oil price began to dip like it was dipping, I remember at the time they'll make fun of us that the price of the cost of oil was the same as the bucket of KFC chicken. It was that bad. So the oil industry had to figure out what they could do and how they could become more efficient. So my company at the time, I was working in Aberdeen in Scotland, sent me for this conference. And it was during this conference that I realized that I knew nothing about anything when it came to technology. I feel like that's the first time in my life when I felt underprivileged. I felt underserved, and it was a very interesting experience because when I left it, I got really curious. We were talking a lot about data science, but I started from coding because you need the coding to be able to make sense of the data science in itself. And once I started learning with Python, it was such an exciting experience for me. I went for a conference in the US called Data Science for Social Good. That was where they were using data science to solve problems across the world. I was interested in Africa. I feel like that's how I got into development and into training. That's how I got there, by seeing that there's different ways in which you can use technology to solve problems in Africa. But you in BA, when you get into that place where you're thinking, okay, the different ways in which I can use technology to enhance my work as a business analyst, how I can use technology to solve my clients' problems, to do more with less. Those who are using technology have 10 clients at once, and those who are not using technology are struggling with one client. I said, I cannot start your work now. I'll start it next week. Just give me time. But that person is just writing code and getting the work done in no time. And we can customize ChatGPT. There's ChatGPT, but there's the possibility for the people with the right skills to customize it, to educate the machine, to actually give it your information. Because you'll be surprised, well, you should not be surprised to find out that the lack of data will mean that the way you query ChatGPT will be different from the person abroad who queries ChatGPT. So once you're able to educate the specific ChatGPT that you're using, it means that it now has more information and it has more context to be able to solve your problem a little better. So I feel like the first thing is understanding what AI is and really digging into that, trying to get the programming skills. But programming is not something that you want to try. It's just trying to understand the different tools that you can use and really hands-on. Really try to, once you learn, the idea is trying to get your hands dirty, trying to use actual practice. Once again, as I said, the person who is learning to pass an exam is very different from the person who is learning because they want to solve problems in the workplace, they want to serve their clients better, they want to grow their career. So it's two different things. For that, I really recommend Kaggle, because once you've learned, Kaggle gives large data sets that you can use to, as you say, get your hands dirty. And the good thing with Kaggle is that you can upload your data as well and get other people on board. So once you're stuck somewhere, it's a whole community that you can harness and say, okay, I've been trying to do this and I can't do it. But if you hear everything I'm saying, is the truth is all this information doesn't matter to the person who's not a learner. So it's really about becoming a learner. I can give you 6,000 different websites. All of them will be free. There's few that are paid like Udacity and Udemy, but you pay, what, £10? But the truth is, many people know that these things exist, but they're not necessarily using them because are they learners? Not necessarily. And in the line of my work, I discovered it's a lot harder for women because women have extra responsibilities. And that is a problem in the sense that some people say, oh, women don't, and it's true, Accenture actually in their 2022 report said that men are 40% more likely to undergo personal development programs than women. And they say women are still 40%, which is interesting and annoying at the same time, that men are 40% more likely to adopt new technologies than women are. But then we forget that women are caretakers. Women come home not to rest and put up their feet and watch football. They have to come and check on kids, and they have to check on their husbands, and they have to check on their families, on their parents. Because the way I check on my parents is not the way my brother does. He can't be bothered. So the demographic is different. And that's why I keep saying women have to be intentional when we're looking to grow our careers. We have to know that the playing field is not level, and nobody's coming to level it for us. we will level, the more we climb the rungs of the ladder, the more we can advocate for ourselves, and the more we can create opportunities. There are many companies in Cameroon now that are introducing, well, not many companies, there's a company that I know about that's introducing paid leave for fathers, So when the mother has a child, so I feel like that helps. If you give a father 1 month off, that helps the mother a lot. So, and it also tells him that he has responsibility in the family. So I feel like one of the things, it's such a complex, multifaceted problem, but the solution is we just have to get with the agenda. We have to know that, okay, we are learners and we have to allocate an hour a day if possible to learning the skills that we're looking to get while looking to access opportunities. So that's really what that is. So I talked of Udemy, I talked of Udacity, I talked of Coursera, there's Khan Academy, but then there's Kaggle. For me, Kaggle is the it thing when you're ready to, okay, I want to try, I want to see what I can do, I want to see the skills I've actually been able to develop so far. So that's that. Yeah.
Thank you for all those tips. I think the platforms that you mentioned, we will share the list later with the attendees. But I'm also taking note of something very important that you said, is that we should have the mindset of learning. And I believe it also means continuous learning, because now we have AI, which is the big thing. Tomorrow is going to be something else. But if we have that mindset that we should be willing to keep learning, then we will remain relevant, whatever comes. And we shouldn't be afraid of it. At a subconscious level, maybe we're afraid to take that step and learn. As you gave us statistics, women a little bit more than men, but if we develop the mindset of continuous learning, we will be able to get over these barriers and continue to remain relevant in our careers. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for everything that you have shared. And I would like to give the floor to our attendees to ask their questions. So if anyone has a question for Hélène, based on anything she said, or you have a point of view that you want to share in addition to what she shared, please raise your hand, and then you can go ahead and introduce yourself and express yourself. Also watching the chat to see if anyone has dropped anything there.
Hello, Florence.
Yes.
Yeah, I think William has a question, and as well as Escata.
Okay. All right, William, you can go first.
Oh, okay. I will. Thank you so much again, Helen, for your wonderful presentation. It was very, very interesting. I wanted to know if you. I heard you learned to program. You learned Python. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And how long do you think someone need to know basic Python or basic training with Python?
We actually run programs where we train people in 3 months.
3 months.
So it all depends. Python is, first of all, a very easy language to learn, especially if you're passionate and if you're committed. It's a very easy language to learn. It's not as complicated as Java or C++. Those ones are the really hard, the really tough ones. I mean, Python, I think of it as a very fun language and a very intuitive language. And if you're learning on your own and you're working full time, I say give yourself 6 months and go to Kaggle. Because sometimes you think that you know until you're asked to work on a project and you know that you don't, you find out that you don't really know as much as you think you do. But then I was learning, I think for me it was about 5 months, but I had a mentor that I met during a conference. I attend conferences as well. Conferences are such an easy way to accelerate your access to whatever. The good conferences are usually very expensive. So if you have conferences that are affordable and are good, you have to take advantage of those because there are not many of those. And it's an investment that is worth it. Sometimes you have a free conference in a different country, so you have to pay an air ticket to go there. Sometimes you have programs like this one that happen after work when everyone is tired, but you have to make the sacrifice to be there. But I feel it's so multifaceted in the sense that since it's not theory, you can have the degree and you can have the certificate and not be able to do anything. I didn't get my certificate because I was not interested. I was working with a data science company called Domino in San Francisco. I was working for their for good arm, and I was working on projects that concerned Africa. And that's when my mentor was like, Helen, you're obsessed with Cameroon and with Africa. We will find you somewhere to start projects there. And that's how I started projects in Cameroon. And for me, it really, le goût vient en mangeant, as we say in French. The more you do it, especially the projects, the more you do it, the more you're solving. It's like a wow. Even when we teach kids to code and they write their first line, you really see them go like, wow. That's the expression that comes up. So for me, technology is so fascinating in the sense that it empowers us because there's so many things that we feel helpless about. And just the fact that you can get a computer to do it for you is just absolute awesomeness. So yes, for me, you give yourself 6 months. If you're giving 1 hour a day, and on the weekends, maybe 2, you can 100% be able to do it. And think beyond, oh, I'm trying to learn how to code. The good thing is you already have context. That's why I always say that the person who goes to do a master's degree after working is different from the person who goes to do a master's degree immediately after the first degree, because you know what the world is. So you're going with a problem to solve. Your teachers become your consultants. You're like, okay, I'm a business person, or I'm as a critical thinker, these are the challenges I have seen, and I want my masters to solve this problem. So when you go to your teachers, you're asking them questions for solutions as pertain to the problem that you're trying to solve. In the same way you enter a program like this one, as a BA professional, you're saying, okay, I want technology to move in this direction and to do this for me. And the more you query the AI, even that's another thing, you use ChatGPT. It's just the simplest and the easiest thing to do to become an extraordinary human being. So that's seriously for me, I cannot tell you, it's an awesome thing that you can do. So use that, and you can even ask it. You can ask ChatGPT, how can I learn how to code? How can I be a perfect coder in 6 months? And it will give you a list of programs. It will even give you the time, how long you have to be able to study. If he says you need 2 hours, then you need 2 hours. If he says you need 1 hour every other day, then you need 1 hour every other day. So it's really about taking advantage of the tools that are available to become more. So yeah, another person will take 1 year, another person will take 6 months. But the person who took 1 year was not serious. It's not that deep. It's really not.
Do you use it? Do you use Python in your day-to-day
Not in my day-to-day, not
activity?
anymore. I used to, but not anymore. I used in the beginning, especially when I was still with the Domino Data Lab, especially when I was in oil and gas, yes. And when I started building, I started doing a PhD at some point, which was interesting. But once I got into development, once I came to Cameroon, once I saw the problems that needed to be solved, I was like, oh no, not really. So now I build a lot of training programs. So that's when I'm using it, when I'm saying, okay, because the trainings that we build are always project-based trainings. We don't do trainings like, okay, the objective is never to learn or to know. The objective is to solve a problem. So like the kids who are doing their presentations downstairs now, we're using the SDGs as fodder, and you see a kid who's presenting a game that they built to be able to solve an issue of climate change. We introduce the SDGs to them. You see another kid who's building a website to fight to promote gender equality. You see another kid who is designing a flyer to fight or to end hunger, which is SDG 1. So you as a BA, I think when you're entering the field, it's so cool because you can even use your own problems that you have, any bottlenecks that you experience, take it to ChatGPT, ask ChatGPT and ask how you can leverage your skills to be able to solve that problem. And then once you know the skills you're supposed to leverage, then you know the skills you're supposed to be learning. So that's really what that is. I use coding and software dev mostly when I'm building trainings for other people. That's really the highest part. But now we are actually building a platform where we want young people to learn online. But in my capacity, I'm more supervisory. I'm not the one writing the code every day. But then because I know how to do it, I'm able to say, okay, you can't do this. And when people are always not possible to do this, just because they don't want to do it, right? But you know that it's possible. And you're like, I know that it's possible. So you can't say that it's not possible. So even when you, I was on a panel with an HR panel of the intersection of artificial intelligence and HR, and there was a lady there whose company had just was just onboarding people, was doing, first of all, a general company-wide training in AI, and no, in coding, sorry. And they were trying to see, not company-wide anyway, the particular sector. And so they had a technician that was handling the training. And so when she started learning, the guy would say things and she'd be like, no, actually in HR, it is better to do this than to do this. And the guy was like, do you want my job? She's like, she's here for that. She's ready to kick him out because she will be a more valuable technology expert than he will be because she has context that he does not have. So the more she was learning, the more she would tell him, no, we can't do this. What you're proposing, we should not do. We should do this. And he was like, do you want my job? And she's like, I can get it, because she can, actually, because she's a learner. So that's really what that is.
Thank you.
Okay, William, are you satisfied? Okay, great. So, Escarta, you're next. Please unmute yourself. Okay, great.
Cool.
Please introduce yourself, remember?
Hi, I'm Escarta. I'm a business analyst working with a financial institution. I've been doing business analysis I started with Florida, so I've been doing it for the past 7-8 years. It's great to be part of this session again. It's always an opportunity to learn new things, to discuss with those that are in the field, and to share knowledge about things. And thanks, Helen, for that presentation. It just come to solidify one thought of mine that I always have, that as a business analyst, first you need to be a learner. You need to be curious about things, and the only way to be curious is to learn, right? And to find new ways to do things, to always be above and beyond, right? Look at things from a different angle, and one particularly, right, in the AI context. I have discussions with a lot of colleagues of mine, and people are actually just scared about AI. People don't really take time to just search a little bit around it. People here, they read the news like they see AI is going to do a job, and they just get scared. They don't really want to understand, how can I really leverage this technology to enhance what I'm doing, either as a business analyst or whatsoever role that the person has. And AI is really here for that. And when you understand that, those that understand this are not scared of AI. They leverage it. And you see they are outperforming others because they understand how AI support what they do on a day-to-day. So that is just what I wanted to add to what you said. But I have one question. And first of all, it's remarkable, right, to see someone transition from petroleum to technology now, training and stuff. It's not easy transitioning, especially from that sector to this other one. So my question is, what have been the greatest challenges that you've had to face during this transition, and what are the key things that you can give to someone looking to transition in whatsoever field that they are in to another? What recommendation will you give them to be able to really do that transition in a swift and easy manner?
I feel like my transition was easy because I was I think I was done with oil and gas. People was like, oh, you left so much money and all of that. But I was privileged. I started working really early. I started working when I was 21. So I was able to find out early enough that I wasn't interested in making rich people richer. I just did not care about it. And I feel like working, I've always been passionate about solving problems, and I'm somebody who likes challenges. I cannot do the day-to-day same thing every day. I don't know. I'm not. So I feel like the fact that I started working early gave me the opportunity to know who I am early enough. And by the time I left oil and gas I was about 28. So I'd already been in the business for about 7-8 years when I left. So I was done. So I feel like that was the thing that drove me in the other direction. That's what made it easy. Because I remember when I just graduated, I did a master's in petroleum technology, and I started working, and I could not believe, I was like, is this going to be my life? Because I was like, I can't adapt. I was like, I'm not interested. When I went for this conference and I started learning how to code, and I started working, cleaning up data for people remotely, and making inferences, analyzing data and all of that. And I started seeing the Data Science for Social Good conference for me was really pivotal because it helped me see how the world was using technology to solve problems. And that's what I wanted to do. For me, it was exciting. And I feel like being abroad also helped me see that there's a better world that we can have. There's a better life that we can have. And the status quo in Africa does not necessarily have to be our final. Our lives don't have to end in that manner. So as my drive was passion, I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel like without that passion, it's not really possible. But there are people who are passionate about money as well. So that should be a good drive for the average person. But I don't think I was. I'm not passionate about money. I cannot work for money. I feel like it's the honor of my life that I get paid to do what I do. I would do it for absolutely nothing. And yeah, so yeah, I was passionate about wanting to solve for, and once again, we're saying the same thing, right? When you're learning to do, it's different from when you're learning because you want to pass an exam or you want to have the certificate. I feel like that's the real, the things I could do then, I can't do them any longer. I could go 3 days without sleeping. I don't know how I used to do it. Now I have a presentation. If I'm not in my bed by, should I sleep late normally? I sleep around 1. But normally I could do literally, I would do the whole night and go the next morning and do what I have to do. I can't do it any longer. But those days I was really driven, and I can't lie to you. I think at some point I was actually getting depressed in oil and gas. It was empty. It was hollow. I could not see like the impact that I was having on other people. So I was no longer interested, So that's really where that came from. That's really where that came from. So I feel like the passion for a new life, the passion to change things around you. That I feel like that's the biggest drive when you're looking to change, when you're looking to move from point A to point B, the momentum that you need. Once you get enough of it, I feel like the movement forward becomes the easier thing to do.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you very much for that.
Thank you
you.
too.
Thanks for the question, Eskata, and thank you so much, Helen. We know that you are quite busy and you have another event also happening. So we are going to thank you for your time and all
Thank you
your
so much for
sharing
having me.
and let you go. But of course, other people who still have questions for Helen, I hope you are fine with them reaching out to you on LinkedIn.
100%, please.
Conversation. Awesome. We'll be sharing Helen's LinkedIn contact as well, so feel free to get in touch. Thank you, Helen.
Thank you so much.
Hopefully see you next time.
Yes. Thanks again. I appreciate it. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
Helen, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye. So Kalex, please ask your question anyway. Maybe one of us here can contribute an answer to your question. It applies to everyone else who still has a question.
All right. Thank you very much, Florence, for this amazing session. I'm Kalex Yanika. I'm a data analyst and I work in the market research industry. So my question is around how careful we can be actually. Yes, AI has come to empower us, but if we're not very careful, we are not going to master our art again. So I just want to get your perspective on how careful we should be and how we should really use this AI, because I'm actually guilty of not mastering some things and just going to Copilot, ChatGPT and getting it done, and I'm over it.
Very, very relevant. Does anyone here want to share their perspective? Please feel free to just unmute yourself, introduce yourself, and tell us what you think.
Do I need to introduce myself again?
No. Okay, someone wants Kalex to
Carter.
repeat the question.
No, it's fine. So-
Sorry, someone in the chat wanted Kalex to repeat the question.
Okay.
So Eskata, maybe you can just repeat it and then give your perspective. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. I think, from paraphrasing, Alex wants to find out how careful we need to be with AI, right? In the context of how it's coming and anyway, let me put it in the common way, how it's frightening to take over our job. Okay, this is my perspective. I see AI from two perspectives, right? We are either a consumer, right? Or you are a producer. So we have the guys that are building the large language modules, training these models in using specific data sets, right? Those are the guys that are producing the data. Now we consuming. As a consumer, you don't have a limit to how you consuming data as long as it's taking you to your goal, right? It's helping you reach your goal. Yes, those are the producers. Obviously, if they understand how consumers are consuming this, then or what consumers' drives are, there might be autonomous systems that don't need these guys that are consuming. But in any way that you using AI, what do you need to focus on it? Because use it in a way that is going to add value in the things you do. The AI that we know, if we put it in our own context, right, Africa, we don't have enough data to do the things that we don't have enough training data to train those models to be able to respond to our specific use cases in the way that will frighten us, right, at this point in time. But now, whatever we're doing, we need to be able to say, okay, how am I making? I'm not just you don't just take something and just go and throw to ChatGPT. ChatGPT does everything and give it back to you. Then you just go and present it as okay. No, what into what the AI is providing as output. You don't have to. For me, there is no limit, right? Identify what is coming out from the model that you're interacting with, and then what extra value are you adding to it. Do this, and I will assure you, AI will be more friendly than even a threat. But still, this is from a consumer perspective. I have guys that are producers of AI that have been using this to build excellent modules, but it's going to be contextualized. These are few people that understand the context and are feeding this AI with data that provides valuable feedback in the given context. So for me, choose your side, right? Choose your side, go as deep as you can, but always ensure that you're adding value in what the AI module is giving you as feedback. What value? Ask yourself, when you get that, ask yourself, what value am I adding on this? And honestly, I use AI a lot. I develop, right? I'm a software engineer from an educational perspective, and I still code, right? Sometimes I will take a piece of code and say, okay, maybe ChatGPT, Gemini, write me this code in some way that will optimize performance and stuff. Then it gives me this. Then I look at it like, now, there is something that is not just right. I have to put my own touch there to add that value. Because first, you need to understand what you're looking for. What AI provides to you, add your own value to it. Don't just consume blindly. If you consume blindly, that just shows how easily you will be replaced by the AI. Find ways to add value in every outcome that you get it, right? So anyway, that is my own thoughts around that question.
Thanks for sharing that perspective, Escata. Does anyone else want to add something?
Maybe I should come again, Florence.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Escata. So I'm not looking at it from a perspective of losing jobs, right? I'm looking at it from a perspective of using AI to empower ourselves and still mastering the art. Because you, like the example which you cited, you're able to get the output from ChatGPT and maybe analyze and say, okay, there's something wrong. But for an entry-level guy, he's not able to do that, which means the way you use ChatGPT is different from the way as a beginner is going to use ChatGPT. So how will you advise that beginner to use ChatGPT in a way that they're still going to master their art?
Context makes the meaning, right? What context are you coming from? you, as a consumer, you will never use an AI module like the producer. So you need to define that context. And also, it's just AI is just, in fact, the large language models are just models that have been trained with a huge content and are able to generate new content, right? The generative models that we interacting with the ChatGPT, the Gemini, and others. So as a beginner, take the time to learn, understand this, because it's if you need to master something, you need to first start from the basic. What is it about? I'm not saying you learning, you studying AI as a producer. You still studying it as a consumer. I want to be efficient in the way I'm using this tool. You can just go and be chatting with ChatGPT. It's going to be giving you responses to whatever question you're asking, right? And it's going to be given in a way that people like, man, it's blowing your mind all the time. But start from somewhere, start from the basic. What is AI? How can I leverage this in the context for what I'm doing? When you get that mastery, we're going from there. Then you start identifying those gaps, right? AI is not 100% perfect, especially in our context. We can start identifying those patterns, okay? Seeing that, okay, this pattern doesn't speak to the context within which I'm working, and then add your own value at that point in time. So, but first, as a beginner, you have to take time and know what AI is. And I know there are a lot of confusing stuff around AI. People presenting it from different contexts, from different perspectives. But just step out, right, from all the noise and take a gradual path to study to understand the basics around it. I'm not saying go hardcore as if you want to become a producer. How can you leverage AI to do a particular context work that you're doing in a given context? So when you've learned and you've reached a certain level, you can now start identifying those lapses that are found in those modules. And I'm not saying that you actually go and write those modules. You can identify that, and that is where you have to now step in and add your own touch to it. Still, start from somewhere. Leave the noise. Start from the basis. Understand what AI is. Everyone use that word. It's like a buzzword now. Any stuff that somebody does, they'll just throw AI there. They're like, okay, I've killed everything as I put AI. But no, study it. Take time to understand the basis. Now, in your own context, how are you interacting with this? Most of the times I play around, right? I take a particular prompt, I paste in ChatGPT. ChatGPT gives me a response. I take that same prompt, I paste in Gemini, for example. It gives me another response. I'm like, ah, man, these guys are not, they are responding in different ways. But still, I'm somebody that like exploring. But as someone that is beginning, understand what AI is, then start bringing in your context and how it's adding value in that context and how it's taking you to the objective and what value you're adding from the responses that you're getting from the AI. And you can only do this when you understand the basics around AI.
Okay. Thank you so much, Eskata, for adding even more of your perspective. Just before I hand over to Frederic, I think I also understand Khalek's question from the perspective of, let's say, for example, I'm applying for jobs and I don't know how to write a cover letter. I just say, ChatGPT, write it for me. And I never know how to write a cover letter or what's important to put in a cover letter or how to tailor a cover letter because I completely missed the basics and I'm just depending on ChatGPT. And as well with our education systems right now, I think education is completely changing because of AI. People are skipping the things that we used to spend hours and hours to learn because they just simply query AI to do these things for them, to do their assignments sometimes for them, to do their work for them. But this change is the reality that we're facing. And I think, Alex, your concern is very relevant. And I don't have an answer to that. I think I'd like to hear from Frederic and then Jacques.
Hello, I'm called Frederick. Could you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Frederick Wapi is my name. I'm a, how can I say, I'm a prompt engineer in Deveni. Prompt engineer is what it call people who are talking with AI, Gen AI. So your question today is how we can deal with it. And for me, the first of all is to know what you want. If you don't know what you want, what ChatGPT or what that Gen AI will give you will be something wrong or something good, but it is the other person from who you will give that information that will come and say what you are giving us is not is not what we want. So think of Gen AI like an assistant with who you can say, for example, write me a cover letter. You write you a cover letter, and if you think that that cover letter is not good, you can say to him, go there and I want you to put this information on that cover letter, or that information on that cover letter. Remove this one, put this one, all and so forth and so on. So the first of all is to know what you want. If you don't know what you want, you will not be able to talk with them. A simple thing for me that you can begin with is the acronym RTF, Role Task Format. With role, you can say as a project manager, how can I make a project charter of putting cloud of cloud in my organization. I want you to build that to give me that that information in the for example in a table. In my perspective, you see that I talked about a role as project manager, task, give me a project charter, format is in a table. With that, it will give you something that it is, I can say, portable. And after that, if you are not sure that what is talking is good for you, you can slap, or you can say you can fine tune it. What is what I can say? You can fine tune it. So it is just one technique, but there is a lot of technique that you can use when you are going deeper in there. So that is what I can add for in the discussion. Please, I apologize in my English.
No, don't need to. Don't need to apologize. I think we all understood you. Thank you, Frederic, for adding that. So Jacques wants to add something as well.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. I'm Jacques Kevin, currently a frontline staff at Merck Cameroon. So I have a question, actually. Unfortunately, Ellen left and I couldn't say my question. So my question is that I think there are many novices in this call. So my question is, what's the best possible roadmap for a novice to get into EI? So anyone in the call that has maybe an information can give us some tips.
What's the best possible path for a novice to
roadmap for a novice to get into EI? Yeah. So like where should we start? Where should we? The second step, the third step, fourth step, and then to become at least an expert in EI. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. I will start with a little piece and then the others can contribute. I think one of the things that Helen did mention earlier was start by understanding what AI is. And there are platforms out there that do free courses on AI, introductions to AI. I personally did one through the IBM Skills Build platform. I will also share the link. And that was really to help me understand what on earth is this AI thing. But yeah, that's what she said. First, start by understanding what it is, before you can know what to do with it. So, in terms of a roadmap, I wouldn't be able to say do step 1, then step 2, then step 3. I think after understanding what AI is at a fundamental level, the next thing would be to see what you want to use it for, because there's so many directions you can go. There's so many different tools, AI tools you can learn how to use, but it will only be relevant if you have a practical application for it. So is it in your job? There's specific use cases where you want to know how to use AI to execute those use cases better and faster. Is it even for your career development? You've identified some kinds of roles that related to AI you are interested in. Then you can take that step further and learn deeper about those roles. So what I'm saying is first understand, try to identify something online. There are free courses out there that will give you a quick introduction to AI. And then the next step would be figure out what you want to do with AI. And then you can learn further in that direction. So it will be very practical and hands-on. You learn, you apply, rather than you learn and just for theory. Okay, that's my piece. If anyone has something to add to answer, to give an answer to Jacques, please do.
Hello.
Yes, Derek.
Okay, I'm Derek again, IT business analyst. I would just like to add on what you just said. For me, well, the roadmap that actually following now um, is that is in addition to what you just said. I will add it will not depend on what you actually want to do with the AI. If you want to be a developer, or if you just want to use the functionalities of the AI. Now, if you want to be a developer, you can somehow take two paths. That is, you can go deeply into the development of the AI. That is, you start off by learning statistics for data science, probability, um, calculus. You see, so you start from there, and after learning the statistics and the probability, you move on to learn machine learning, because the test that you are going to learn in statistics will help you in your machine learning journey. Then from there, you can move on from learning machine learning to deep learning. Not forgetting that you also have to learn Python. It is very important. So if, however, you want to be a developer, but you don't want to go deeply into it, that is, you don't want to get yourself into statistics or probability and all that, you can just leverage the functionalities on cloud platforms. For example, we have AWS machine learning. You can just go there. They have done everything. That is the programming, the Python programming is there. You just go there and use their model. You use the model and adapt it to your system. For example, the Azure AI, we have APIs endpoints that you can just use those APIs and adapt to your model. So if you want to be a developer, you have two paths. Either you go deep by learning the statistics, the probability, the machine learning, that is the mathematics behind the AI. You can do that, but for me, it is really tough. It's really tough. Or you can use what engineers in AWS or Azure, as that is, those engineers have already developed. You can leverage the functionalities, adapt those functionalities to your system or your model. It will go a long way for you. It will help you. That is, it won't be necessary for you to know a lot of programming and all that. Just basic programming, basic statistics, basic probability, and there you go. So it now depends on you if you want to um, be a developer or a very good developer, or you just want to use the AI. That's just what I wanted to contribute.
Thanks for that, Derek. And I hope, Jacques, you were able to get some.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Florence. Thank you, Derek, for the insights.
Okay. So I think we have time for one more question and answer exchange. Does anyone have a question? Yes, William.
Okay, if not, I just wanted to share something. For example, I learned about ChatGPT like, I don't remember, 7 years before, and I did not trust ChatGPT or AI or machine learning. For me, it was like, I mean, I did not trust that it would have such success. And I have friends, they were testing ChatGPTs before ChatGPTs went public. And when it went public, and I started to see and to see about it everywhere on the news, etc. I called them back and I told them you were right and I was wrong. And then I started to ask them, how can I use it as a business analyst? How can it help me? I became to become more excited because before, when they talked to me about ChatGPT, I didn't know how to use it. And for me, it was like extra effort to learn something new. But then when I heard about people using it, etc., I asked them, how can I use it? So they told me it's very easy. You go to an URL, ChatGPT, etc., you log in, and then you start discussing with the machine. Okay. So, and then they told me the first thing you can ask to the machine is to ask him, what can you do for me? And that's how I started. What can you do for me? What can I, yeah. And then first I asked him things about resume, things about writing stories, etc. And after that, I started using it for my actual job. For example, I gave him requirements and I asked him, okay, according to, for example, Baybook version 3, is this business requirements um, does it respect the standards? So I started to ask him questions like this. According to this and this, does it respect the standard, or how would you write a requirement or uh, a business case or a business rules according to this and this guideline, or etc. And that's how I started to use it. Now, someone asked very interesting questions, Yenika, over dependence. You know, the first 3 weeks, I used ChatGPT like every hour. I slept like 2, 3 hours in the morning because I was testing it. I was trying to see how far can I go with it. I couldn't sleep anymore, and I was so excited about it. But then I stopped. So you have to yeah, at some point stopped and just use it as your assistant whenever whenever you need it. But of course, at the beginning, you will just overuse it, but be careful. Um, so that's what I wanted to share. So I'm using it a lot to write emails because in my job, you need to write perfect emails. Sometimes I usually took 1 to 2 hours to write emails to customers or to business people, to executive. Now with ChatGPT, in 15 minutes, I can check. I will write the draft. I will send to ChatGPT. He will give me. I will check if everything is correct with him, and then I will send it to the executive, and also to check if business rules are um, if I miss something in the business rules or in the specifications, I will also use ChatGPT for that. I gave him data, and I use it to brainstorm and to make sure that I did not forget anything, something like that. I'll stop. So thank you. That's it that I wanted to share.
Thank you for adding that. Kalex, I hope you got something from that. Frederick is adding, in his opinion, it depends on what you want. So yeah, I think Alex, your question is so much bigger than all of us here. We've learned from William's experience and how he was addicted at the beginning and had to learn how to balance things out. We also heard from Escata from his perspective of, first of all, having that expertise, understanding your own expertise, getting the basics right before, then you will be able to better use the tool. We heard from Frederick saying how you could effectively prompt the tool, but that requires you to have some knowledge, because if you don't have some knowledge, what you ask, you'll ask questions and it's going to produce rubbish, in quotes, or low quality outputs, but you won't even be able to tell that they are low quality outputs. So there's an art to asking the questions of the AI, but definitely having your own fundamental knowledge makes you much better in any case than someone who just 100% uses the AI without thinking. So thank you all for your contributions. At this time, we will move to the quiz section before we close. So as usual, we always have a fun quiz at the end to see whether you're paying attention to what we discussed. And our quiz is not just an empty quiz, you have prizes. And the first prize, no, before I go into prizes, I can give the rules of the quiz. Those who've attended before know how it goes, so I'm sure they are ready. But actually, it's a question of knowing the answer and being fast. So I'm going to ask you some questions on what Helen mentioned, what was discussed. And if you know the answer, type it in the chat very fast or open your mic and say it. The first person that we identify that gave the right answer will win a prize on this list. So the first prize is a 10% discount to one of our study groups online. And second is a 10% discount to the study group on site. The third is a 10% discount to our BA Meetup event in Douala, which is a paid event, but you get a 10% discount. And then the fourth is the opportunity to feature your own BA story on one of our on our IBA Cameroon channel. So it's a way of selling yourself and using the brand of IIBA so that people get to know who you are. I think it's a wonderful opportunity. And finally, the final prize is that you can have 1 hour guided ECBA exam simulation, so the entry-level certification for business analysis. If you're interested in that, you're really going to like this prize, but we also, maybe you want to give it to someone else who it will be more useful to. That's also an option. All right, I hope you are all ready.
Or else ChatGPT won't help you pass this quiz.
I'd like to see ChatGPT try. Okay, so I'm going to start the first question. Helen said that AI is essentially like educating something. What was that thing? Is this a tough question? Let me check the chat. Okay, Helen said AI is essentially the same like educating something. What was that thing? I'm going to give it 5 seconds. If no one has an answer, I'll move on to the next question. Maybe it's a hard one. Machine, computer. Yes, computer. Technically, William won, but William doesn't get to win any prizes here. He's the president of IBA Cameroon. So, Kalex, you won. Yes, she said AI, as artificial intelligence is the same, like pretty much educating a computer, like feeding it with data and educating it. So, well done, Kalex. Well done. You're going to win. I'm putting your name at with the first prize. There will be an exchange afterwards concerning the prize, don't worry. But you are our first winner. Well done, Kalex. Okay, the next question is, what kind of engineer was Helen before she used Alex used ChatGPT, okay? They're jealous, Alex. It's just jealousy. Les jaloux. Okay. So what kind of engineering did Helen do before shifting her full focus into technology? Ooh. Someone said software, wrong, oil and gas, petroleum engineer, oil and gas. Okay, oil and gas is close, but it wasn't really oil and gas engineering. It was petroleum engineering. So well done to well done to Luke who got that right first. Jacques, please try again. So Luke, you are the second winner. And let me go to the next question. And William, you're actually very close because she later specialized in procurement engineering. But okay, Luke won this one. Let me move to the next question. At what age did Helen learn programming? Okay, someone said 28, close. 27, 27, 27, 27. Everyone who said 27 was correct. Sorry, Dave. Alex, you already won a prize, so you're not winning this one, although you were first. Escata won. Escata, you are the winner of our next prize, which is the discount to the BA meetup in Douala. Congratulations, Escata. Okay, my next question is a little bit harder, but if you're paying attention, you get the answer right away. What does Helen teach? We said Helen is an educator. What does she teach? She doesn't teach Python. Well, not specifically like that. She mentioned some of her activities with kids, with women. companies. Oh no, William, you didn't get the question right. Yeah, this is an English thing. It's not who does she teach? What does she teach? Okay. Okay. So Jacques said Python, Alex said technology skills, Luc said digital. Somehow we are kind of all right. She teaches digital skills and technology skills. She sometimes teaches programming, or in her programs, they educate kids and teach them how to code. So I'm kind of tempted to give this prize to Jacques. Hey, Luc, you already won. Alex already won. So I'm going to ask you guys to be generous and let Jacques take this prize, because he was actually specified a subset of what he teaches. Okay? Faut partager, let's share. So unless Alex and Luc strongly protest, we'll give this prize to Jacques. So Jacques, you will have your story featured on IIBA Cameroon's official channels. Our last question, Okay. So what is an area that Elaine mentioned that AI can actually replace us? There was a very specific area where she said you can just let the AI do it. You can do it fully.
I know.
Someone said, I know, and did not say the answer. Another person wrote. Okay. Any other tries? Okay. Time up. Data analysis, not chatbot. She didn't really say that AI can replace chatbot. The chatbot is already a form of AI, or a little application of AI. It wasn't specifically text analysis, but what she described was more like data analysis. So gathering data, getting insights, making recommendations. The correct answer is data analysis. So congratulations to Luc. You won again. You won 2 prizes this time. Congratulations. And yeah, well done to everyone who tried. We'll be getting in touch with all the winners concerning their prizes. Well done to all of you. And here we are nearing the end of our session. If you want to have your revenge, feel free to join us again at our next after work. You can have your revenge and win a prize. But well done to all of you who won. All right. So I think we are right on time plus 1 minute. Before I say goodbye, I would really love for you all to take the time to fill our survey, our feedback form, which will be automatically displayed on your screen when you leave the call. That is a Zoom survey. We really appreciate your feedback. It is a very short form, very short, maximum 2 minutes. You won't even spend up to a minute on it. But that will enable us to get your feedback and also get your interest in any specific topics. And if you want to be a speaker at one of our after work events, so please answer that survey. We really appreciate that. But apart from that, I'm really glad to close the session here and thank you all for attending and for participating. Enjoy the rest of your Friday and your weekend. Goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you,
blessed
Florence.
weekend.
Thanks.
Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye to all. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you to Dave. Thank you. Thank you for staying. Thank you. Derek, can you please stop the recording?